Somewhere beyond the recesses of time and space, two podcasters are set adrift in a machine, picking up transmissions of movies that are forgotten but not gone.
Welcome to Movie Memory Machine 5-4, the series where we are introducing 5 films that are thematically linked to the movie that we are talking about this week. And the movie we are talking about is 54. I am your host, Landen Solano, joined always by my co-host, Truman Caps. Truman, it's good to see you.
Landon, it's good to be seen. What do you got for me?
Well, okay, we're talking about 54 this week, so I think some of these are going to be very obvious, and I thought, let's just get the excitement out of the way, you know, let Truman have his day in the sun, or
oh boy,
night in the moon,
night in the glow of the neon lights from a San Fernando Valley nightclub, because I think I know what you're gonna give us first.
Our first film is
Boogie Nights, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, responsible for everything that's happened in my life. This is how I found out that porn existed, guys. It was from this movie.
Are you kidding me?
No. I'm absolutely kidding you. That is that is ridiculous that you would suggest such a thing. Yeah, Landon, I learned about porn when I was 16 years old and I watched Boogie Nights. I had never, with the broadband internet connection on the computer in my room, I had never figured out that you could find salacious images online.
This is where our age difference comes into play, because I didn't have the internet till I was 16, so
wow.
There you go.
I mean, were you part of the generation of kids who just would find porn magazines in like a plastic bag in the woods? Because a surprising number of my friends have talked about that, and it never happened to me.
Yes, I am, but we have covered my Playboy exploits on previous podcasts, and we don't need to rehash that here. Truman, tell me, I'm going to let you take the wheel on this one. Tell me the thematic connections between Boogie Nights and 54.
But Boogie Nights is set in the 1970s, and it is a movie, you know, it's about a young lad in the LA area who becomes a porn actor and finds really a beautiful family of fellow porn actors existing at the edges of celebrity in LA. Don't editorialize too much. But it's a lot of the movie takes place in nightclubs and at parties. It has an incredible soundtrack of 70s hits. There are some incredible 70s fits in terms of the clothes that people are wearing. And yeah, this is a movie that came out less than a year ahead of 54. If you remember from our episode, it looms very heavily over all the discussion of 54. Landon, do you have anything to add to the Boogie Nights discussion? I feel like I always crowd out all other discussion of Boogie Nights.
Yeah, well, I'll just say, as you know, an opportunity here to say that upon reflection, my thinking in terms of how it relates to 54 is more just that it looms in the cultural consciousness more than it does on the filmmakers' minds. That you couldn't escape the comparison, but I don't know how much it influences creative decisions on the set. I could be wrong, but I just wanted to kind of clear my thoughts on that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, again, thematically the movies are pretty different. I mean, 54 is very much about pleasure, whereas Boogie Nights, despite being so much about sex, really nobody ever is particularly taking pleasure in the sex. They're mostly doing it as part of their job and trying to be good at their jobs. But that's probably for a longer discussion about the movie Boogie Nights.
Which we've had. You can go listen to 2 episodes on it and an interview about it.
Yep. You want to hear a horse thoroughly get flogged? Listen to that episode. What do you got next?
All right, moving on.
Whoa, Party Monster. I have no idea what that is.
Oh, well, okay. Maybe the machine is showing its whole ass here and showing a movie that maybe it'll show us in the future.
I mean, look, I don't get invited to a lot of parties, so I've never encountered this type of monster.
Well, 54 is about, Studio 54 disco club culture in the 70s. Party Monster is about the New York club scene of the 80s and early 90s. And this falls very much into the new queer cinema world, both in terms of like being at the latter half of the movement, but reflecting back on the times when it was emerging. So like it's kind of got a weird meta commentary thing going on. Like, it's a bit of a snake eating its own tail. It is part of the movement, but also looking back at the origins of the movement and looking back on the influence of the movement coming to fruition in the first place. Like, there's a lot going on in this movie.
This monster has a lot of eyes to be looking in so many directions at once.
The thing that I think was the biggest note about this is that it was supposed to be the like turn for Macaulay Culkin into independent adult roles. And he's great in it, but didn't quite like, I don't know, his adult career didn't galvanize from this.
Yes, it would be a different Culkin that would seize the mantle of grown-up celebrity.
Oh, Party Monster 2003. Let's move on to another thing I think
Yes.
you'll be excited about.
Okay. 24-hour Party People. Now, Landon,
Yes.
I must tell you, I have actually not seen this movie, despite the fact that it is very Steve Coogan-centric, and Steve Coogan is arguably one of my favorite actors of all time. The fucking Riz coming off of him in this poster, just the fire that he is shooting from behind those oval-shaped sunglasses. Oh, I'm getting chills.
Well, this is a bit of a biopic, but a type that I don't mind. Directed by Michael Winterbottom, who did all the Trip movies with him and Rob Brydon. This is about he plays Tony Wilson, who is, a reporter, and
much like Alan Partridge, another character who Steve Coogan plays.
This is definitely a drama, though. He gets involved in the music scene of Joy Division coming up. It's called Factory Records. It's the label Factory Records. But it takes place in clubs. It's a lot of music, a lot of aspiration, a lot of drugs, a lot of rock and roll, lots of just party lifestyle, and the kind of destruction that can have on certain people if you know Ian Curtis's story.
I imagine it doesn't go well. Yeah, and it seems like it also appears to be a story of somebody from kind of outside that scene getting pulled into it and getting a crash course in it, and we're sort of along for the ride.
Yeah, maybe in that regard, it's a little less 54 and more Almost Famous, but
well, I mean,
maybe not even that, because he's not a naive little kid like Patrick Fugit is in that movie.
Yeah, but Ryan Philippe isn't necessarily naive, but he is an outsider to the club scene. He wants to just go have a good time with Jacqueline Bisset from All of My Children.
Okay. Should we move on to the next film?
Yes.
All right. One that I love. We talk a little bit about it with Lewis in our interview with him. We're talking about
The Velvet Goldmine, yet another movie I have not seen but have been told that I must see and am deficient for having not seen. This is an early Christian Bale, correct?
Yeah, I mean, yes, before Christian Bale really becomes Christian Bale, but I mean, in terms of his career, I mean, middle, like, he wasn't a child like he was in Empire of the Sun, but
it's from 1998. I mean, it's earlier than now. I don't think I'm 100% wrong. I should get half credit at least for that. Talk about The Velvet Goldmine some.
All right. Velvet Goldmine is another kind of rock and roll biopic, but, fictional. You've got Ewan McGregor playing a kind of Kurt Cobain proxy. You've got Jonathan Rhys Meyers playing this kind of glam rock, pop, punk, disco, superstar. Christian Bale's in there, kind of as a groupie. So it's really about the kind of the music scene and sexuality and all forms of sexuality and identity, gender identity that fall within it. It's directed by Todd Haynes, incredible director of many LGBTQ plus movies.
Didn't he also make the Julianne Moore movie? No, well, yeah, I meant Far From Heaven, but I meant the more recent one where she doesn't have enough hot dogs. August, September? No. No.
What are you thinking about? Hot dogs?
May, December. She early on in the movie, in May, December, Julianne Moore looks into her refrigerator and very dramatic music swells, and she just looks off screen and goes, "We didn't buy enough hot dogs," and dramatically slams the door of the refrigerator. And it brought me to life. It sent me.
He and Julianne Moore, have worked together quite a bit, having done Safe and Far From Heaven, as I mentioned. But we're not talking about those movies. We're talking about Velvet Goldmine. I would say more than anything else, like, yes, there's a lot of thematic qualities that are in touch with 54, but this one just, like, it's about vibes. Like, this one captures the vibes I think 54 would have wanted to have had it not had interference.
Yeah. In a perfect world, 54 would have been closer to the Velvet Goldmine.
I think so. All right, should we move on to our last movie? And I'm curious if you've seen this one.
Yeah, go for it. Saturday Night Fever. I've not seen this one. I've seen it parodied so heavily everywhere that I may as well have. I mean, even just looking at images from this dance scene, I'm like, am I watching Airplane right now? Is that what this is?
Well, that's what's surprising about this movie. And Lewis mentioned it a little bit in our interview with him, that everything that's been parodied about this movie is just the dancing. And so you could go into this thinking it's a sort of Grease-like, musical, when really the dancing is such a small part of it, and lots of just kind of gross things that happen with teenagers in the 70s are going on.
Isn't there a gay bashing scene in this movie? Because they were so desperate to convey that the guy whose whole life revolves around dancing is definitely straight, so they had to have him be abusive to a gay person.
There's a lot that is maybe not problematic, but it's I don't know in 2025 that it is as skilled at biting off as much confrontation as it is doing.
Yeah. Well, so an interesting fact that I do know about Saturday Night Fever is that it's based on a newspaper or magazine article that was supposedly this very buzzy profile of a young man who has a dead-end job by day, but at night he lives for the dance floor, and it's all these intense descriptions of him out there calling out dance moves to all his bros and them cutting up a rug on the dance floor. And it later turned out that the journalist who wrote this article made up the whole goddamn thing. He was getting out of the cab outside the disco club. Someone outside puked on his shoes. It wasn't 54. It was some shitty club in Long Island. But someone puked on his shoes and was just like, fuck this, I'm going home. So he just made up the entire story. So Saturday Night Fever is multiple layers of fiction.
Why didn't I do that when the dildo guy walked out of the club and I got thrown out for having laces on my shoes? I could have been the progenitor of an entire classic film residual income for myself.
Yeah, you could just do a really iconic movie about a guy not being able to get into a club and being mad about it. I mean, that you see how that works.
Well, that guy didn't get in the club. He just got his shoes puked on. I had a shoes issue, so I could go and make up a story.
It's never too late for you to make up a story about what happened inside a nightclub. You don't even have to go outside the nightclub and get pissed off like you did and like that other guy did. You can just make up a story about what's happening at a nightclub from the comfort of your own home.
All right,
that's the moral of this episode.
All right, that's all we got for this week. We will see you next time when we cover the next movie. Okay, that's it. See you next week.
Okay, great ending, everybody. Bye.
Goodbye.
Movie Memory Machine is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. Join our Patreon at patreon.com/gruntworkpod to keep the machine running. Theme song by Porky's Groove Machine. Rate us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. For more information on today's show, visit MovieMemoryMachine.com.